We're about midway through spring practice for the Auburn Tigers as they get ready for their 8A game scheduled for April 8th. James Crepea joining me now on the Plains. And as we're nearing the midway point and obviously going to the back end of spring, some things to take a look at. We'll start with JF3, John Franklin III, making the move from quarterback to receiver as well as special teams. How big of an impact do you think he can have there?
Well, he's certainly a pretty dynamic playmaker. As Gus Malzahn said, look, when JF3 has the ball in his hands, he can make some plays. You saw it in the open field, was particularly from the running perspective last season. Look, he didn't get to pass a whole heck of a lot, but when he got to run, that's when he made big plays. That's when he was really dynamic, and his speed is his number one asset. So having him at wide receiver, I'd expect to see him, kind of perform a lot of the same things that you saw Jason Smith do, or even Eli Stove do, in that a lot of the jet sweeps and motions, things like that. I think as far as utilization-wise, like a Percy Harvin used to do at Florida years ago, aspects like that. Now, how good is he at catching the ball? And those questions, those still have to be answered. And ultimately, at the end of spring, we still have yet to talk to John about it. We have to talk to him about that transition because, look, he left Florida State because he did not want to be a wide receiver a couple of years ago. He wanted to be a quarterback. Now, as he faces heading into his final college season, has he come to grips with, and how has he come to grips with, moving and changing positions to a change that he didn't want to make a couple of years ago? But time is not on his side here. As long as he's willing to move over, and that's been the word that he said back at the Sugar Bowl, and that's been what the coaches have been saying thus far, is that he's very open to the change, then yeah, he certainly has a skill set that's pretty dynamic and pretty good for a wide receiver.
And I think, of course, it's good that he's making that move now during spring where he can certainly put in more time and get more reps at that position. Now we move down the list to Shaun White. Shaun White still recovering from that broken arm from last season and certainly trying to get back into the rotation, into the quarterback rotation. What are you seeing from him in terms of that rotation and some of the other guys that are working out at quarterback right now?
Well, at spring practice, Shaun's been limited thus far, and he probably will be the rest of the way. We've heard he's performed on 7-on-7 drills and things like that. We haven't seen him during some of the early periods of practice that we get to watch on occasion. We have not seen him perform anything during the pace drills and the full offense out there, even at a minimal scale, and he's not expected to. And look, they understand what they have with Shaun White. He's been a starter for 2 years, or a year and a half, if you want to say, missed different parts of different seasons. Bottom line, they know what he's got skill set wise. They don't have a lot of questions there. And frankly, it's probably better off for the younger quarterbacks, in particular Woody Barrett, a redshirt freshman, Malik Willis, a true freshman, that they're getting more quality reps with the first and second team because Shaun White is limited. But for Shaun's purposes, the rest of spring, it's just going through the motions almost to just get through 7-on-7 and stay in the swing of things, basically. But as far as answering skill set stuff, they already understand what he's got in a lot of ways. We'll probably learn more from him as far as his full recovery and things like that later and into the summer and August. But it's working out very nicely for the younger quarterbacks, like I say, that they get more reps because Shaun is still recovering.
Sophomore wide receiver Kyle Davis out for the spring indefinitely. What can you tell us about that?
Well, it's based on what we've heard thus far. It just remains this ambiguous personal business at the moment. So it's very open-ended. I know that a lot of people want to know. We would like to know, even and we are working on gathering more information on that. But at this point, you can just say that, in fairness to him, he's out, and the exact specifics are unclear. That said, it certainly seems to be just a personal matter, whatever that may be. But we are looking to gather more information. It does come as a bit of a surprise the coaching staff, and that they thought he was going to be back after spring practice. He was, spring break. He was not. It looks like he very well could be out the rest of spring, but the expectation is he'll be back for fall camp, and it would have been good for him to be around for spring, no question about it. He would have been among the lead 1 or 2 receivers for sure in that group, and working with a new quarterback and Jarrett Stidham, that would have been great to have that spring with him. But how much will that put him back? We won't know. August, but I don't think missing spring will necessarily be an ultimate detriment. There's a lot of guys recovering from injuries. I think they're going to try and treat this very much in the same light.
All right, thank you so much, James. We appreciate your time. And of course, for all your Auburn Tiger updates through spring practice, you can visit us on AL.com.